let me ask you a different question. Let's say I was doing that analysis that you mentioned, Adriane, like I was looking backwards, seeing what I like. Well, I like solving people problem. I'm good with people. I like solving technical problems. I also enjoy understanding the business. Let's say I want a different role. Maybe it's in product. Maybe it's in a different part of the organization that I've never done before directly.
Right.
And I found those incredible opportunities. I think I can actually be a great candidate. Obviously, there's a lot for me to learn, but I can also bring more value. So how do I, as you said, like build that narrative? How do I tell the story that actually convince those companies to even talk with me, especially during those times where we know it's not so easy to find a job?
Yeah, I think, especially if you're wanting to make a pretty significant pivot, to a large extent, I think you have to sort of check your ego at the door and say, okay, I'll do, entry-level product manager Y job so that I can get that experience, so I can have that, an understanding of what that looks like. Because, it's a lot of, job opportunities don't necessarily translate across. Like, okay, you've led a team of 50 people who are in engineering, but an engineering mindset isn't the same thing as a product mindset. And it is very different if you're like wanting to go in business development. This is a very radically different mindset. And so you do have to kind of start to some extent from the beginning. I think the other piece of it is tapping into people, like if they're at product management teams or managers or business development folks or people you've worked with in the past, ask them, say, hey, this, I'm interested, get a better sense of what does it take? What does that look like? How does that feel? Open up your mind to working at, sometimes, smaller companies, a startup or something along those lines, where you're really there to gain the experience and to gain the understanding and see if it's something that you like and you want to do. More so than it is you're trying to, have a large team again. I think that is, good, better, and different. I think, especially on the engineering side, most engineers fancy themselves. They're very smart, so they can do lots of jobs. And I'm like, yes, you're very smart, but I don't know that you would hire engineers to do every job of a business, because there are certain, there's certain experiences, certain understanding. There's a way of viewing the world that you need in different types of roles. And I think it's important if you go in and say, look, I'm here. I want to do this. I want to try it out. I want to move to the product side. It can be hard. I have friends of mine who have done this, and they have to some extent taken several steps back, arguably back, and become more entry level than their experience would say they would be, in order to gain that understanding of working through what that discipline is about. And I think if you're open to that, I think it can be very fulfilling. Other ways you can pivot, you can go back to school. Yeah, my husband, he wanted to do more in systems engineering. He's now doing a master's in systems engineering because he wanted to move more into that space. You could argue that's taking, quote unquote, a step back, but you're taking a specific change in what you want to do and where you want to take it, and you're investing the time to do that. And then that opens up the world to you in different ways that may not have previously been there.